guys, so today we're going to be talking about a very exciting topic, and I actually came up with this idea on YouNow. If you guys were with me on that stream, it like hit me. Basically what I was going to do is psychology conspiracy theories, but all that came up were psychology of conspiracy theories, and I was like, that's a great topic for a No Makeup Monday, so here we are. Basically, there's been a wave of conspiracy theories that's kind of like a trend now. I mean, I don't want to say that because it's existed for decades. It's not a new thing by any means. But, talking about conspiracy theories online, doing a lot of videos on it. I did one myself where I reacted to conspiracy theories, if you want to watch that. Not that entertaining, not to, diss myself a little bit, but it wasn't that interesting because I personally do not believe in pretty much any conspiracy theories. But I'm jumping on the bandwagon a little bit and I'm going to talk about them. But I'm going to talk about the psychology behind them and why people in general believe them. There's a lot of theories out there about why, and I'm not going to say that if you believe in conspiracy theories, these are going to apply to you, because there's many, many reasons why people believe in these things. Most of which is just because they're interesting and they're like weird to think that there could be an alternate universe, or like Mandela effect. That's a really interesting conspiracy theory. But there are extremists out there. Anyway, we're just going to jump in. So the first reason that basically all the articles that I read and all the research that I did, it basically came down to people believing in conspiracy theories because they have a lack of control of their lives. You have like a lack of agency, so you feel like you don't have control over your life or like the events that happen to you, because we don't, let's be real. Especially politically, just in the world, things that happen, we have no control over them. So what we do is we make up reasons as to why they're happening, or just different things, different explanations as to why they could possibly be. One of the quotes that I really like from Michael Wood, he's a lecturer, he says, "It's reassuring to believe the world can be controlled, even if that means it's not a nice place," because we're not necessarily coming up with reasons as to why these bad things are happening and making them good. We're just coming up with random reasons as to why they could be happening, or different explanations for things that aren't always positive. They could be really creepy, scary, or just weird. Another theory that I actually kind of believe more is that our brains are naturally wired to connect the dots. We don't like ambiguity. We like, for sure, concrete reasons. Even if you think that you might not, our brains generally are wired to just connect the dots when there's something missing, or the whole story doesn't make sense. It's basically how our brains just make sense of the world, and we often fill in the blanks for people that we meet. That's why we have stereotypes and why we generalize things that aren't always good, and that goes back to the theories not necessarily being explained in a good way. We're not trying to spin it into something positive, but we tend to judge people because we like to know everything, and we just simply can't. A good example is the Jfk Assassination. A lot of people wanted to believe it was something bigger. There was like a big conspiracy about his death because they couldn't believe that just a random Joe decided to come in and kill the president for no reason, really. Another theory is that conspiracy theories kind of tap into our brain's deepest desires or fears, and they kind of appeal to those emotions, and so we kind of believe that big events or big things are caused by big things. We don't tend to think it's just something random or small, because that doesn't make sense, right? So we try to make more bigger explanations for things that are happening. Or there's the thing called intentionality bias, which is basically ambiguous events happen for a reason. That's kind of like the phrase "everything happens for a reason," which I don't believe in that personally. I do believe every kind of action has a reaction of things, just like if you weren't here, the world wouldn't be the same kind of thing. But I don't necessarily believe that everything happens for a reason, that someone is planning these things to happen to you so you turn out a certain way or anything like that. There's no bigger plan, according to me. But those kind of beliefs kind of feed into why people would believe in conspiracy theories, that there's a bigger picture and there's a bigger explanation behind the scenes of certain things that have happened that we are just trying to explain a little bit better. What I thought was interesting and kind of true, you ask yourself this and then try to see if this is actually a legitimate theory, but it's less about a reaction to a single event, but generally more of a worldview. So typically people who believe in one conspiracy theory will believe in multiple. And that kind of explains that it's their worldview, that it's just like being a liberal or a Republican, something like that. It's just a way of life for them, and so they tend to believe in more than one, or at least multiple, if not all conspiracy theories, which that's a stretch. That's me reaching, but I'm not saying you believe in all of them. I'm just saying that typically it's more than one that people believe in. Obviously this has been kind of like a trend on YouTube, but beyond that, bigger picture is that people tend to get a lot of this information from the internet, which we did not used to have. So there's always been conspiracy theorists out there. They kind of were, few and far between back in the day, but there's always been them in history. And theorists believed that with the involvement of internet, that would actually diminish and go away because we have more information, we have more accurate information, and we're being reported pretty much all the information that they can, supposedly. Depends on the news outlet, but generally we're getting the information that is needed to fully understand a situation, and generally it's pretty complete. We don't really have a reason to fill in the holes or to make sense of it in another way. But if anything, the internet has only facilitated this thought process and encouraged people to have different theories and, conspire, I guess, about a different reality. And it's kind of funny because 63% of American voters believe in at least one political conspiracy theory. 63% of American voters. Like over half of this country believes in at least one conspiracy theory, which that tells me at least two for some of them. So kind of back to the traits of a conspiracy theorist, someone who actually believes in conspiracy theories. I mentioned that they have like a lower sense of agency, just that they have less control over the world and basically their own lives. And also it points out, at least this article kind of talks about them having a lower self-worth because they do not have as much control over their lives. And so basically they know information that others don't, and so it kind of gives them more control. They're able to explain things in the world that maybe others can't. And basically conspiracy theories are a way of reacting, at least the brain's way of reacting to uncertainty and powerlessness. One of the things that I've learned in psychology, and what I think this is 100% true, I read it in an article, but I learned it in school and I fully believe in it, is confirmation bias. And this is something that I think is very detrimental to us as people, and we all kind of participate in this by who we follow on Twitter, what news outlets we read, and things like that. Conspiracy theories, where we get our information, stuff like that. Basically, we pay more attention to evidence that supports our own beliefs than we do evidence that doesn't go with our beliefs, that basically goes against what we believe. But we often will do our own research, and the way we search things or what articles we choose to read will often confirm our own beliefs, and it's not really teaching us anything because it's something we already believe in. And it's really important to get all information and be unbiased in that regard. But when it comes to conspiracy theories, a lot of people will research articles like, oh, what is the Mandela effect? I'm going to go to the website and see what it's all about. And because they might already have somewhat of a belief in it, when they go to the website, they're absolutely convinced that it's real because of confirmation bias. One article that I read was really, really fascinating because basically we're trained from birth to fill in blanks, to find patterns, basically, because our brain wants to know it all. And our brains are so good at finding patterns that sometimes they find patterns that aren't even there. And it could be reaching to create these kind of conspiracy theories that there's actually not really a pattern there, but because of the randomness and confirmation bias and just paying more attention to something that's going to support your beliefs, you can actually create a conspiracy theory and make it believable for others who are kind of like-minded or have a similar thought process to you. We all kind of have a pre-existing ideology about certain things. We already have a belief system set in place, especially if we're just functioning adults and we've been through a little bit of life. We have a way of thinking, and we subconsciously will filter information of events or things that have happened to kind of fit that ideology that we've already created, and that's kind of part of the confirmation bias. Our brain doesn't necessarily process everything in a logical way. We have to, actively try to process things in a logical way, but generally it just is an automatic process and it's subconscious, so we don't even know that we're doing it, but we might just believe these theories because it already fits our mindset. I want to end this with a statement that I believe that we're all kind of conspiracy theorists in a way because we all have a bias. We all have our mindset that we have our way of thinking and how we feel in control over our lives and how we understand the world. And so usually we're going to find narratives that are going to fit our already way of thinking. It's really hard to change your way of thinking. We all want to feel like we have control over our lives, and we want to understand the world and know all the information, but we just can't. But that's why conspiracy theories exist, because, well, for one, they're really interesting. I find them fascinating to listen to because it's interesting to think of a different reality or a different consequence or an event or anything like that. And I'm actually kind of preparing a video on disturbing conspiracy theories, because there are some really effed up ones out there that I don't personally believe in, but the fact that they even exist and people do believe in them are bizarre to me, but we'll do another video on that. So I'm not saying you guys have low self-esteem, lack of control, and that's why you guys believe in conspiracy theories. I'm not saying that at all, but that is what research kind of shows, that it really comes down to lack of control, and it's all subconscious. It's not something that you actively are like, well, I don't feel in control today, let's create a theory about why this happened. But it's a process of our brains that kind of help us believe in conspiracy theories. I think I just personally don't, because I don't believe in everything happens for a reason. I don't believe in meant to be's or fate or things like that. And I think they're kind of related, because you have to have an open mind to that kind of thing. And some conspiracy theories, you definitely have to have an open mind to believe that there could be an alternate reality or something else. Like, I don't know. Some of them are just a little outrageous for me, but they are interesting. I do watch the videos. They're very interesting. This video is kind of all over the place, but I hope that gives you some idea as to why people even believe in conspiracy theories, or why we're fascinated by them in the first place. I find it an interesting subject, and you tell me your conspiracy theory that you 100% believe in down below, and I hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.